I know I'm not the only fan who had a little party in her head when the tarp came out, because we're all excited that Dexter is finally back. How was it for you, though, revisiting that character?
It was a trip. I mean, I spent 8 seasons playing him and about as much time away from it. So to return to something like that is an experience I've never had, probably never will have again. It was a little scary, and ultimately a relief / kind of creepy to discover that he was still very familiar to me. He was still very much there, you know? It's weird. It's like discovering someone you'd kind of forgotten about has been alive all this time too, and living a life, and it's time for you and the character to get together again. It was wild, but it was fun.
I want to know how this all came to be for you. Were you approached?
Well, as you can imagine, because the open-ended way that the series proper ended, the possibility of us returning, you know, was always there, but only this time did the timing feel right and the story feel like one worth telling. I think, you know, the fundamental relationship in this episode is between Dexter and his now teenage son, who's, you know, a grown young man, almost. And, you know, we're acting as if as much time has passed for the character as passed for the rest of us. So we had to wait for the kid to grow up. You know, we needed to take the time so that we could really mine all the, you know, really rich and complicated stuff that's there for that relationship.
So tell me where this season picks up. 10 years ahead. He's far from Miami.
Yeah, it's been almost a decade. He is now living in Iron Lake, New York, a fictional town in upstate New York. He's living under a different name, Jim Lindsay. He's basically disappeared himself, you know. He's living a very isolated existence. He's in a very small town, a very cold place, very isolated, and a place without temptation. I think he's a guy who's committed to abstinence. He hasn't killed anybody in 8 years. He's living a sober life, but he's the only one who shows up at the Murderers Anonymous meetings. You know, he's a fellowship of one. But as you can imagine, the cameras have turned back on, so something's probably going to happen to disrupt his routine.
Tell me more about the relationship between Dexter and his son. Does his son ever figure out who his father really is, like the murdery parts?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all crave for both characters to reveal themselves to one another, and you know, long to see how that might happen. I can't say definitively when or how or what happens, but you know, I think Dexter in confronting Harrison is dealing with someone who he, on the one hand, desperately hopes is a normal kid and doesn't have his dark passenger, and on the opposite hand, desperately wishes that his son has the dark passenger and is like him. Because I mean, I think Dexter he's very much alone in the world, and if his son is like him, it's sort of his first chance to actually know and be known by someone in a way he never has before.
This season, we do see some recurring characters. Your sister. Now that would be confusing for anybody who's a fan of the show. So tell me what her new reimagined role is.
Yeah, Deb embodies the internalized voice in Dexter's head. You know, in the first incarnation of the show, Harry was there for Dexter to interact with, and Deb isn't exactly a new Harry, or maybe it's more accurate to say that Dexter's relationship with himself is a little more chaotic than it used to be. And so that relationship is chaotic. And she, you know, it was a chance to take advantage of Jennifer Carpenter's ability a mercurial actress to come at Dexter from so many different angles and with so many different energies. And that was a fundamental relationship in the first show. And when we realized that we could include her in this way, it immediately felt essential that we do.
This is 10 seasons, or 10 episodes rather, but are there more in store? Like, would there be another season after this?
I think the only way I could responsibly answer that is to say maybe.
Okay.
I don't want to give anything away.
This is a role that you're so closely married to. Do people confuse that in real life? Like, can you go to the grocery store and buy garbage bags? Or like...
Oh, if I buy garbage bags, I try to buy some other stuff too. I try not to buy them just by themselves.
I also want to know what the craziest fan encounter you've ever had has been, because the Dexter fans are rabid. We know this. What's the weirdest thing that's happened?
If anything, it's people asking me to pretend to kill them.
Oh.
Like for the camera, they'll give their camera to the person they're with, like, will you be choking me? There was one person who actually showed up with a syringe.
No.
They had the syringe. And I was like, well, usually I would say no, but this is too impressive. So I did, put it in their neck.
Yeah, you've done your
It didn't have, the needle was removed, for the record.
I love that.
That was pretty impressive.
Thank you for watching. If you want more extra, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll never miss a video.